So, today is the Feast of the Archangels, Saint Raphael the Archangel, Saint Michael the Archangel, and Saint Gabriel the Archangel, and I thought it'd be fun to do kind of a little bit of talk about the angels, why they're important to me, my patron saint, and all that, just kind of in honor of their day. So, Saint Raphael the Archangel, of course, is my patron saint, but actually, he wasn't going to be my patron saint originally. So, for you guys who don't know, maybe we'll talk about that first. So, it's a kind of a Catholic tradition that you pick a patron saint, a saint who influences your life, a saint who you look up to, someone to be a role model and kind of help you as you go through the RCIA process, which is how you officially become Catholic if you weren't born Catholic. So when you're going through the RCIA program, one of the first things you're told to do is just start thinking about a saint. Start thinking about someone who would be good for this sort of thing. And it differs from person to person, and lots of people have different reasons. And if you talk to a lot of cradle Catholics, they will tell you that they have a lot of regret with those patron saints because sometimes they'll choose their patron saint like as soon as they turn 13 if they're a cradle Catholic or something of that nature, and they don't put a lot of thought into it. Right? It's just. They chose whoever was important at the time, or they just chose, a random name out of a hat, and now they're kind of stuck with that for the rest of their life. And, it's an important decision that you make when you're a kid, and, when you're a kid, you don't always make the best decisions on that, right? So, luckily, I did it as an adult, so I had a lot more chance to think about it, and I was originally going to go with St. Jerome, because St. Jerome was well known for his anger. In fact, he had so much anger, he used to carry around a rock, tradition tells us, and he would take this rock, and when he would get mad at people, he would basically hit himself in the chest with the rock to calm himself down and focus on something other than the anger, and to be able to move on from it. And that is something that I struggled with a lot as a kid, and in my early adult years was dealing with anger. So I was like, oh, well, this guy is absolutely perfect. Like, he's got the anger issues, he's got a plan for the anger issues, like he knows what he's doing. He's a man with a plan. So that was originally going to be my choice, but as I thought about it, I was like, is this who I really want to be my main choice? Is this really my patron saint? I realized that that's not really a great reason to choose the saint, right? Like, just like, hey, you're angry like me, wasn't like a good enough reason. Like, they didn't have a connection. I was just like, oh, I'm angry, you're angry, let's just be angry together, and that's good enough for me. And so, while originally he was going to be my patron saint, I said, let's think about this a little bit more, and try and find a saint that I have connection with and learn more about it. So we checked out like this big book of saints to try and just look at all the saints and try and figure out which saint would be right for me, which saint is best for me. And we read through a lot, and if you didn't know, something you'll learn about the Catholic faith is we have a lot of saints, like a lot of saints. So there's no shortage to choose one to pick from. There's a lot that people like. You have their standard go-to saints, and they pick one of the standards or the go-tos. And then there's a whole bunch of obscure saints that we don't even know the names of. If you look through like the list, there's a very, very long list of martyrs, because that's kind of something that happened a ton in the church during a few periods of time. Just everyone was martyred, and so the saints kind of get lumped into martyrs of this time period or martyrs of this time period.
Open it.
Not a great time to be Christian when everyone was getting martyred, but there's a lot of martyrs, and then of course there's the archangels, and then there's so many to choose from. So we grabbed this huge book, we're like, okay, let's read through all the saints, and we were still kind of finding one that would fit, or one that we liked, or other things like that. and we decided that we were going to go away on a Catholic retreat for married couples at the Mount Angel Abbey, which, if you haven't been to the Mount Angel Abbey and you're in Oregon, I highly, highly recommend the Mount Angel Abbey. It is a wonderful, wonderful place, and their retreats are absolutely wonderful. And we kind of figured, if we're going to be Catholic and we're going to be married as Catholic, then we should learn how to live together as like a Catholic married couple. So we took some time to go on a retreat to see maybe if that could help teach us some stuff, we could learn some stuff, and it'd be helpful. And while we were there, we were looking through this big book of saints, and I happened to be sick during this time. It was kind of unfortunate timing that I got sick while we were away on this retreat, and so I was like, I really want to feel better because I want to enjoy this retreat. I want to, go to all these classes, go to all these workshops to try and, learn as much as I could, because that's why we're there. We're there to learn about our faith and how to live our life as, a married couple, with also faith being the first and foremost part of it. So while I was there, I came across Saint Raphael the Archangel in there, and there's not a whole lot of information about Saint Raphael, to be honest. He's in the book of Tobit pretty much exclusively, and there's a few stories, but there's not nearly as much information. I mean, like, Saint Michael, of course, the Archangel, has a ton of information, and so Saint Raphael doesn't get quite as much love in that regards, but he is the healer, known as the healer. So I spent time just trying to understand Saint Raphael the Archangel and praying for intercession of healing, and the next day I felt a lot better. And so that was kind of the start of me really saying, I had no good connection to Saint Jerome besides anger, and anger isn't a good enough reason to make someone a patron saint. So, but this kind of felt like a sign. This kind of felt like this is the right path. This is kind of what I should be doing. So I decided that then and there, after feeling better the next day, that's it. This is going to be my patron saint. This is how it's supposed to be. And I know that story doesn't hold up to like great scrutiny, because inevitably you're going to feel better one day if you're sick, right? Like if you're not feeling well and then next day you feel better, someone can just attribute to that, oh, well, eventually you were going to feel better, right? You either get sick and get better, or you get sick and you die. Like, there's two options, one or the other, and one is way more likely than the other. So I understand from like a skeptic's perspective that may not be the most life-changing story, that may not be, a good enough reason for them, but this reasoning isn't supposed to be for someone else. This reasoning isn't supposed to be convincing someone that God is real or something of that nature, right? This was simply just why I chose my patron saint and why I feel this close connection to Saint Raphael. And I've always loved the angels. I mean, I love like the classic imagery of angels, or even more so like the Crusaders and the angels and all. I absolutely love all that imagery. I love the idea of paladin. Whenever I play Dungeons and Dragons, or if I'm playing like a fantasy game, I am almost always a paladin. And I didn't realize until much later that, oh, these things are connected. In fact, that was one of those things that I should have realized. I was born to be a Catholic way before I actually did, because that's like from as early on as I can remember. Like, I never wanted to be the wizard in games. I never wanted to be the spellcaster. I never wanted to be like the archer or the ranger. I know everyone was all about Legolas for a long time when Lord of the Rings came out and all that. For me, it was the paladin, the knight, the hero in shining armor, ordained in gold and bathed in the light of God, walking down the halls and bringing justice and helping people. And that has always been like my absolute best fantasy. So, clear to me now that, that I should have been Catholic long ago, but I finally caught up. So one of the archangels really made sense. And I know that it sounds like, oh, well, then Saint, Michael should have been the right one, but I felt that this connection was meant to be, that got the intercessory prayers and they were answered, and that just kind of brought me to where I'm at. And I had a great time at the retreat. I plan on going back someday. And so I'm really moved by the archangels. And Saint Raphael is, I hate to say it, but I think Saint Raphael is like the most forgotten angel when it comes to the archangels. Like, it is so hard to find Saint Raphael, the archangel, like statues and things. Like, everyone and their dog has Saint Michael, the archangel. You can find, prayer medals, and you can find statues and prayers and all sorts of things for Saint Michael the Archangel. But when it comes to Saint Raphael, like there's not a whole lot you find with that sort of statues, prayer medals. So anytime I find any of that, like it's a must. It's a must buy immediately, because like it is so hard to find that when I do find it, it's like, oh well, I guess I need one more statue wouldn't hurt, one more prayer medal wouldn't hurt. And so far, I think it's been about a year since we've been officially Catholic, going on 2 years, and I've found one Saint Raphael statue, one holy water font, and one prayer medal. And we go to like a lot of Catholic places. Like we try and visit the grotto multiple times a year, which if you have never gone to the grotto, it's located in Portland, and it's kind of a Catholic getaway place that has a lot of shrines, a lot of great history. It's beautiful, fun to walk through, and during Christmas they do beautiful Christmas lights at the grotto. So if you haven't done that yet, you definitely should do that at least once. It's worth doing at least once. So we go there a lot. We go to the Mount Angel Abbey a lot, and all the different monk places we can visit. And so I'm on the lookout. I am always on the lookout for more gear, and it's difficult to find. Like, it's truly difficult to find Saint Raphael the Archangel gear. So it definitely sometimes feels like poor Saint Raphael is forgotten. So that's kind of another part that makes it good to be. He's my patron saint, because now at least one person is remembering him, right? At least one person is giving tribute to Saint Raphael, while everyone else is looking at Saint Michael. Especially now that we do the Saint Michael defend us in battle prayer at the end of every mass. So
fall in.
I kind of wish I could write a prayer for Saint Raphael. I don't know if you're allowed to do that. Like, you're allowed to pray whatever you want, right? But like, how do you turn your prayer into an actual like written prayer? Because I would love to give Saint Raphael the what do you call it? I don't even know what the right words, like out of obscurity and into the main public, because he's my patron saint, he's my homie. That's another one. I'm not sure if you're allowed to call the angels and saints your homies, but Saint Raphael really is. And like last night I was driving home. Unfortunately, we had a death in the family, and so I was doing a lot of driving, and I was tired. And so before we drive, do a quick prayer to Saint Michael, Saint Raphael, asking them for intercession, make sure I'm going to be all that sort of thing. Take those prayers to God for me to make sure that I am okay, and here I am, safe and sound. And again, I know that people are going to say, that doesn't hold up to proper scrutiny, because there's no proof that that's why you got home safe. But to me it is. To me, that is all the proof that I need. And again, this video in particular isn't meant to be a proof of anything. This is just simply, like I said, I really want to talk about the angels. I really wanted to talk about Saint Raphael, and why Saint Raphael is so important to me, why Saint Raphael is my patron saint. And I know I made a couple videos on this already, but reminding people that today, September 29th, is a feast day. It is a good day to have a little special meal or a little something special, and say a prayer to the archangels for intercession, or thanking them for their holiness and all that they do. I think I tried finding some information on what is like the standard feast meal. Like, a lot of times when you look up a feast day, the feast meal will be something traditional. Like, it'll either be someone's favorite, or the saint's favorite food, or something that they in life prepared, or something related to what they are the saint of. But with the archangels, that's a lot more difficult, right? There's not exactly a whole lot of information on any of the archangels when it comes to like favorite food and things like that. But someone online said that the traditional food is blackberries. And the reason why is because when Satan was cast down into hell, Saint Michael, the archangel, cast him down, and he landed on a blackberry bush. And the blackberry bush then, of course, yields blackberries, and that is why you eat blackberries for this feast day. I don't know how true that is. I honestly, I don't know if that's even actually in the Bible or not. I'm not well researched on that particular topic, so take that with a grain of salt. But it sounds cool. It sounds like a good idea to have some blackberries today. So I'm going to go with that one. Probably is the right feast one to do. So if you're going to feast today, make sure you find some blackberries. That's kind of the other thing I wanted to talk on, though, was saying it was difficult to find information on the archangels. But another reason why you choose your patron saint is someone to imitate, someone's life to try and be like. And if you choose a saint, that's already a human saint. That's a hard task. Living up to the life of saints is already very, very, very difficult. But choosing an angel, that's basically an impossible task, right? We're all born human. No one's born an angel. Nobody becomes an angel, right? So it's already basically an impossible task to try and become like an angel, because we are not angels. So me, I'm and I like to do things the hard way, so I definitely have chosen the hardest task, which is to try and live my life as an angel would, and that is a huge, impossible task. Now, to be clear, I'm not saying I'm going to become an angel. You don't get to become angels, right? You don't go to heaven and become an angel. I know that's a common misconception. If you're born human, you remain human. If you're made an angel, then you remain an angel. You don't get to cross those lines, but trying to be one of the absolute most holy beings in all of creation, that's a monumentally hard task. So I hope I'm up to the challenge. In fact, that's kind of why I chose the username Saint Waffles. If you didn't know, is I'm not egotistical enough to say that I'm a saint, but rather I put it as a reminder, so that when I'm making these videos, so that when I'm interacting with people online, so that when I'm talking to my community and doing things, it's a reminder of what we're called to. All people are called to be saints. I am called to be a saint, and so this is a good reminder of that I am called to be a saint. And so I try and strive for that in all my interactions, in all my videos, and all that I do, when I talk to people, when I educate people, when I create friendships, when I create videos. Everything I do is influenced by my love for God and my want to achieve sainthood. My want to have lived a life that is deemed worthy enough that at the end of that life, I get to enter into heaven and be with my Creator for all eternity. So it's not I'm calling myself saint because I'm so good, I'm so egotistical. Rather, it's a milestone, it's a goal to achieve, and one that's going to be a lifelong struggle that I hope to someday achieve. So that's all for today. That's all I kind of want to talk about again today. September 29th is the Feast of the Archangels, so make sure you do something special and have a blessed day.